Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very interesting Rob's Ramblings. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why do I buy a knife? Basically, what's the purpose? What are my expectations? What's the usage? And more, kind of want to talk about that. It's a little rambling, something that came up in some discussions I've had, and I thought it would be fun to kind of go through that and give you my thoughts on that, and maybe to hear y'all's thoughts on that. It would be kind of interesting, and I would love to hear your comments down below based on your experiences, just to kind of get a dialogue, a discussion going. But here are my thoughts. Why do I buy a knife? What's the purpose of my knives? So every knife I buy, I personally have an expectation that I'm going to use the knife, right? At least in my knife journey at this point right now, every knife that I have is something that I want to use, I want to carry. Granted that it may be really fidgety, it may be something fun to have and something fun to play with, in the sense of I like fidgeting with my knives, I like just deploying them, kind of maybe a nervous kind of a thing where people like to, they call them like little fidget toys. You can call that what it is, a very expensive fidget toy, but it's a fidget toy with a purpose that I can use always. And I always want to be able to use them. And I don't buy knives that are so expensive that I don't think I could ever carry, or I'd be too afraid to carry, right? So that's kind of my purpose in knives, and they're knives that that I want to use. They're knives I want to carry. They're knives that I like the look of it, the aesthetics. And the aesthetics can be anything from the design element of the knife, how it works, how it functions, right? But it has to have some sort of appeal to me. I've done it early in my knife collecting. I bought knives because people said, this is a grill knife, you must collect this. And I did. And I have since sold those grill knives because I didn't really like them. I'm going to say something that you guys may very vehemently disagree with me about, but I'm not a fan of like Strider knives. I'm not a fan of Rick Hinder knives. The only one that I might even want to possibly collect or get is the Maximus from Rick Hinder, but I'm not a fan of the other knives. I'm just not. I know some people love them, and that is awesome. You go for it, man. Collect them away. Take all the ones that I might possibly have bought. I want you to collect them and enjoy it, because that is your knife, your collection. Enjoy your knives, right? That's not for me, right? I tried the Strider and everything, and I just wasn't a fan. I think there's another one out there that's part of the Holy Trinity. I can't quite remember it right now, and I know I shouldn't have forgotten that, but it'll probably come to me at some point. But those are knives that I don't like, right? I don't collect a lot of OTFs. I found 2 OTFs recently that I've really enjoyed for the very simple purpose of how I would use them, and I'm very simplistic when it comes to my OTFs. I don't collect knives to acquire a collection for long-term, just to have in my box because it's cool and it's different. I guess I don't have the funds and things like that to do things like that, but I want to be able to enjoy a knife by using it. That's kind of, to me, the purpose, I guess. At least that's where I'm at, right? For others, if you've been to a point where you collect them because you want to just collect them, that is absolutely fine. That is your collection. You do with your money, your knives, what you want. But for me, that's the purpose of my collection. And what are my expectations? Like, I already kind of touched on that. My expectations are quite simply that I'll be able to use it, while I also get to have it a bit of enjoyment of the fidget factor of it. So to me, I want to be able to both use it and enjoy it, and kind of be able to just hands-on deploy it. So even with a knife like this, that's a front flipper and appears to only have one deployment, I like the fact that it's flat grind and I can reverse flick it with my middle finger, right? So to me, one of my expectations, if you will, is that it's not just a single deployment method. I don't know if I have a knife that is only a single deployment method that I like and have kept. I had one, and I'm actually selling it because it is a single deployment method, and I wasn't really able to make it work as a double deployment method, and that kind of disappointed me, right? At least for me. Now, I get some knives are just so fantastic that that single deployment method is perfectly fine. That's fine. But that's where I'm at in my knife journey, right? This is my collection, my journey right now. also, what are my usages? Well, I don't go out and cut down trees. I don't break up logs. I don't cut metal wires, and I don't go out and banging in the woods and breaking rocks or whatever with them. Right? I'm not starting fires. They're EDC, everyday carry. My knives are for everyday carry, so I like to be able to pull it out, be able to use it when I need to cut a box, an envelope, a package, a bag, a string, maybe a small twine. Maybe somebody has, they need a knife to cut something. I can do that. Sometimes if I'm out grilling, I need to cut open like a package of fajita meat, that's sealed. I want to be able to cut that plastic. I can use my pocket knife to get to it quickly and then put the meat on the grill, because we, in Texas, we have HEB and we have fajita pre-seasoned meat that is just phenomenal. If you haven't had it, it really is very authentic and delicious. Anyways, you have to know HEB in Texas to appreciate that one, and if you do, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you won't have any clue what I'm talking about. But anyways, so that's for me is a purpose of a knife. I want to be able to have usage for it. I want to be able to do things with it that I enjoy, that I want to do, right? And so that's kind of what I'm looking for in a knife, and sometimes there's just, the knife is just exceptional. It has multiple deployments and it's very satisfying. Like, for instance, this EMP by EMP EDC relative. I mean, the reverse flick with that fuller is just really especially satisfying. The front flipping is especially satisfying. It works in so many ways, and it's such a solid, strong knife with a beautiful compound grind, tanto kind of a dual grind with a flat tip, and strong, beautiful jimping. You can choke up. This knife is just so useful, but it's also so satisfying to carry, to use. It goes in and out of the pocket beautifully. The style, the milling on here is just gorgeous. So it's aesthetically pleasing. It's auditory. The hearing of that knife deploying and using is very pleasing. The feel of it is very pleasing, and then the action when it closes is very pleasing. All that stuff is just really, really pleasing to me. And so that's when I look for a knife. I look for that. I had the Nimble and the Nimble Tanto. I liked it. My hands were they're a little meaty. They're medium large hands. They're large width-wise because they're meaty, but they're medium because of lengthwise. And so the Nimble, I had a problem when I would drop the blade, there was a little tip part here that would catch on my finger, and in order for me to get past that, it would get over here where the tip of the blade would actually almost cut me. And so I didn't like that. I just didn't have the right finger shape for that frame lock to release it with the blade to drop. And so eventually I sold both of them, and just found that I didn't like it because I think it was just a little too small for me. And that was just I appreciated the design and everything about it. And I wanted to try the Nimble X, but I didn't see any of those coming out. But then I saw this, the Relative. That's a much larger knife. And I thought, oh, maybe that's it. And so I hunted for it, and they had the pre-orders come in. I missed a pre-order, but they had some extra inventory in stock, and I was able to get a hold of this one. And I got to tell you, it is everything I wanted it to be. It drops just like I'd hoped the Nimble would. See, it clears everything, catches on my finger. I'm not going to cut myself, and the action is beautiful. It's just a beautiful blade, just a nice size for me to use and everything. So this was just one of those things of, I looked at that, and I looked at the purpose, and I looked at the expectation, and it felt like this would meet it, and it has. I've been very, very pleasantly surprised and pleased with that. So what are some of the more? I never really was into OTFs. I tried the Microtech. I had tried the Heretic. I tried the Axle. Didn't really care for them. And I saw Guardian Tactical, which is another one I like. I have one of those. I have two. I have Guardian Tactical, and I have this Kershaw Livewire. Both of these are very pleasing for me. They are right size to get in my hand. The Heretic one I had tried was really small. I returned that because it was just way too small. Axle was too small as well. And this is the live wire, which is similar to the Recon 035 that Guardian Tactical makes. So I definitely don't like the smaller ones, but the feel and the action is just solid. And relatively speaking, for an OTF, I mean, there's always going to be some blade rock and everything, you know that. But this is very useful. It's a very thin edge right here, very sharp CPM 20 CV steel, very useful for cutting boxes and stuff. So to me, this is a very useful knife. And same with the Guardian Tactical. That one is a Tonto. It's a little more aggressive looking, and I like that one for that very reason. I like the different design. You know, both of those are two of my favorite OTFs, the two OTFs that I will actually keep and enjoy, probably keep in my collection, whereas other ones I don't think I would. And I don't, you know, my expectations aren't, I don't look for massive frill. I do like some carbon fiber. I like fat carbon fiber. I like some of the aluminum fused carbon fiber, but it's got to be aesthetically flow and pleasing to me. I'm not over the top. I'm not a super huge Damascus fan. I did get one, the Makani, the WE Knives Makani. It has fire anodized. It's as crazy as I'll get, right? I might have considered a Damascus clip, but even then, I don't know. It takes away, I think, from the overall aesthetic that I like of this knife. So, you know, it's just not where I'm at my point in my knife collecting. I know people who would never get a Damascus or whatever, and now they love it, right? So there is that. You know, I have the Kunwu Knives Tau S, and it has a Damascus washer that is about as nice and as much Damascus as I would like on that knife, and it's nice. It's a beautiful touch, and to me, that's, you know, maybe that's the gateway metal, gateway metal to get you into the next one. You know, it's like, yeah, let me give you a little Damascus, and you'll get a little more, right? Oh my gosh, I hope not, but you know, it could be. But that's why I buy knives. That's why I look for knives in my collection. And in fact, I'm not using it, if I'm not enjoying it, if it's not something that I want to carry, if it's not something I will carry, I'll sell it and it'll move out of my collection. That's just where I am at in my knife journey, right? Maybe you're not. Maybe you'll buy some knives that you maybe don't feel comfortable using. Maybe they're not as comfortable being used. Maybe you just like it because it's a cool knife, and that's totally cool. But that's not my purpose, right? And I'm not out there beating up on logs, and you know, I'm not out there in the woods and trying to, you know, survive and all that good stuff. I'm just carrying my knives every day for my uses, for what I want. But I also want to be able to use it hard if I have to, right? Sometimes you have a knife and you need it for an emergency, for something. You want to be able to use that, and I feel comfortable with these, right? I don't want to have a super delicate knife that I'm not comfortable with, and that's kind of my purpose, my expectation, and my usage. So what are yours? I'm curious to hear where you're at in your knife journey. Were you at this point where I'm at one time? And did you move beyond that? And what caused you to move beyond that? Were you not here yet? And maybe you're thinking, well, that sounds interesting. I'm not quite there yet, but it sounds interesting. Maybe you might be moving toward that. Maybe you completely disagree with me 100%, and that is absolutely fine, because you know what? There's so many knives. There's so many things for us to choose from. There's so many of us out there that we can enjoy agreeing to disagree, right? We don't have to agree on usage, expectations, and you know, purpose of our knives. Obviously we all want them to be safe. We want them to cut. I think we can agree on that, at least for the most part, right? I'm sure there's going to be some exceptions, but for the most part, a knife should be safe and cut. Beyond that, that's kind of up to you, right? I just would love to hear your thoughts, maybe in the comments down below. Maybe you have any ideas for future Rob's Ramblings, something you're curious about, something you've thought about, something you want to ask me. I would love to hear it. Love to maybe make that a future Rob's Ramblings. I do try to respond to all my comments. I appreciate you guys watching today. Thank you so much. And like I would say, if you found this content fun, interesting, or worthwhile, would you please consider liking this video? And if you haven't already, would you consider subscribing to my channel for more content? And if you already subscribed, maybe hit that notification button so you can be notified of that future content. And then if you haven't already checked me out, would you check me out over on Robs_nerdy_knives on Instagram. That's Robs_nerdy_knives on Instagram. I sure would appreciate it. You guys have a great day and a great week. Bye.